Hi, so my first thought as I was reading today was, or this week, was of course the Black Lives Matter protests. Seems to match up exactly with this period of turmoil, the 60s, the youth movement. But as I was looking into that, a lot of the writings about how students were impacting the protests were older. I didn't find a lot of recent stuff. And then I remembered a connection that I had made recently. To a news article I read out of El Paso, Texas. So to start with, let's go into the reading in page 239. The author lists three motifs, he calls them, of the 60s, basically. The new left type thing. Number one is liberation. Number two is egalitarian inclusiveness. And number three is participatory openness. So I'm going to focus more on egalitarian inclusiveness. So basically, the goal, the kind of what was I going to say? The end all goal would be to have everyone be included, right? Everyone in America. And looking at it, it can feel like we've gotten there. There's not racial discrimination very often, and things like that. I mean, obviously that does happen. That's the root of these current protests. But there is a group that's been marginalized far too long that I recently learned about, and so it's kind of my mission to make sure everyone I can is informed about this. And that is the deaf people. So, the story out of El Paso was a child. He was moved to El Paso from Georgia. His dad's in the army, so it's not like the family can pick up and move. That'll be important later. He hearing aids don't work for him. He's profoundly deaf, and his parents did some research and they found a program that looked great and put him in it. And then he was falling behind even before COVID. And they said it got worse when COVID hit because he was provided with pre-recorded videos. And now, if you're teaching 4-year-olds, he's a 4-year-old boy, I wouldn't use pre-recorded videos. I don't think that's right for the kid to have to learn from a pre-recorded video, for one. But it gets worse. They were teaching in a language or a communication system called SEE. It's Signed Exact English. So the majority of deaf people, if you didn't know, speak ASL. ASL is its own language with its own grammar, syntax. That's one of the reasons it's a little bit difficult to learn, but it is a simpler language than English. Now, he was being taught in Signed Exact English, which is just the English language like I'm speaking, signed, and they've created signs for grammar and things like that. And so it wasn't his primary language. They compare it to taking a child from Mexico and throwing him into an English school without an interpreter. So they didn't like that. So they went to their school district, asked for an interpreter. The school district said, no, we don't have funds for that. And you'll have to send them to the San Antonio School for the Deaf. So I looked up. I don't know the geography of Texas, maybe you do, but the San Antonio School for the Deaf not San Antonio, Austin. Now, Austin to El Paso is 8 hours, 37 minutes. Like I said, his family's in the military. He can't get up and leave. So, they're left with basically send away their 4-year-old son to someone else to take care of him or have to homeschool him. And so I just kind of wanted to connect that back to the 60s, how that some of those goals of including everyone still haven't been met. So what have you seen? What other groups have you seen that are still marginalized in today's society?